Hi, I'm going to introduce Richard Coolen. Richard has been a friend of mine for a couple of years, and Richard's also an expert martial arts student and practitioner. Richard's also a wine sommelier with a particular emphasis on French wines, and in particular wines of the Boticon.
Burgundy. Actually, I prefer between the two parts of Burgundy. I have a strong preference for the northern part, which is the Côte de Nuit.
The Côte de Nuit. Thank you so much.
It's another. They all make great wine. They're all great.
Well, Richard's a multifaceted man, and he also was a teacher in New York schools for many years. He's taught publicly and privately, and he's also, which is most interesting, and the reason we're here today is to talk about James Joyce. Richard's been a student of James Joyce for many years, and he's also studied some of his books. And in particular, we want to talk about James Joyce, the man, and also his book called Ulysses. And this is an introduction. It's not to be something that's going to be long-winded. We want to spend some time just introducing the novel, the book. I don't know if it's called a novel.
I think we want to get to know a little bit about the man.
The man first, yes.
And also a little bit about the works that made him a legendary writer.
Would you mind if I kind of start off with a couple broad questions to start the conversation? All right. So one of my first questions is, for listeners who may only know the name James Joyce, who was he as a person and as a writer?
Middle class Irish family, born in, I believe, 1882, Dublin. His father had a fondness for whiskey.
I understand that.
And his financial positions went up and down pretty much like a seesaw. But Joyce was the second child. He had an older brother called George. He died very young.
I never knew that.
That impacted on James Joyce, but James became the primary child in that family, where all of the focus and resources went.
The favorite son, in a way?
The favorite son, the intellectual son, the son that was given as good an education as they could possibly afford. And he did get a good education.
I don't mean to deviate from that, but what was his parents' profession?
I am not sure.
Were they middle class?
Father did. They were middle class. Yes. His father was an educated man.
Yes.
But he had some misfortunes, and I don't know exactly what his business was. I know more about.
But they were comfortable.
Joyce. No, they were not.
They were not.
Much of their time in poverty. It started solidly middle class and then slid right down.
See, that's interesting.
Right down to the end.
That has to have an impact on his life.
Yeah.
So, to move on to another question, what was James Joyce trying to do differently than other novelists at that time?
Well, he was exploring different literary forms. And he didn't just imagine this. When he first left Ireland, he spent about a year in Paris studying, and spent almost all of his waking time in the library, reading.
There was no internet.
Joyce was very literate. His command of the English language was exceptional, but also his command of Latin and Italian and French. So, and he eventually went on to even learn a little bit of the Danish.
Is that right? That's unusual, right?
And that was for the last novel, Finnegan's Wake.
Right.
That's another story.
Another story.
We don't want to go there.
Episode maybe 2 or 3 from.
We don't want to go there tonight.
Let me move on to Ulysses, the novel we want to talk about tonight, or the novel. I call it a novel. Maybe it's not really truly a novel.
It is a novel.
It's a novel.
Definitely.
Okay. So at the highest level, what is Ulysses about? At the highest level.
Well, you would have to define for me what you mean by highest level, because I might interpret that differently, especially in terms of, well, I'm losing myself here, especially in terms of literature. I
You're back on mic.
Am I okay?
You're good. I would say that if you had to describe it without mentioning its difficulty, how would you explain it without mentioning its difficulty?
It's the 24-hour journey of a modest I'm not a salesman who sells advertising.
I never saw that. Is that right?
No,
Oh my goodness.
No, it's the main character of Ulysses.
The main character.
The main character of Ulysses is Leopold Bloom.
Right.
Who's Irish, but of, I believe, Hungarian extraction. Now, this is fiction.
Yes.
But he's of Hungarian heritage. He's also Jewish. And this is very deliberate on Joyce's part. And there are people that have done whole studies on the relationship of Joyce's Ulysses and what it's modeled on. And this is the work that it's modeled on.
Thank you for bringing that book today.
It's modeled on the Odyssey and the Odyssey by Homer. So the book, the structure of the book follows chapter for chapter the same structure as Homer's Odyssey or Odyssey, but cast in a humorous way. Joyce believed it was humorous, and he was stunned.
Well, at least he saw it that way.
He saw it. Yeah. He wrote it that way. Yeah. He was stunned to find that a lot of people get it as a comedy. And he said, he was like, what? They don't get it. It's an extremely complex work.
Thank you. So another question: what did Joyce choose to? Why did he choose to set the entire novel in a single day in Dublin?
Well, Joyce did believe that you could get to the universal through the particular. So he sets it in the city he knows, and that stands for every city that
I believe that. Yeah.
Was or will be. It's the microcosm
of the world
that opens our eyes to the microcosm.
Yeah, very nicely put, by the way.
I mean, this is just a thought that came to me because we're talking about microcosm and macrocosm, right? Now, there's another expression, right? As above, so below.
I love that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Now, the protagonist of Joyce's Ulysses is Jewish. Think of the symbol of the Star of David. It's one triangle pointing up and an interlocking triangle pointing down. As above, so below.
That's insane.
So there is
I love that. Yeah.
Joyce was, I don't know if Joyce intended that, but Joyce is a master of some of this stuff. I could tell you that the opening page of Ulysses, two main characters.
Maybe you've seen something others haven't seen. You know, that might be an insight.
I have my own insights, but my insights have been deeply and broadly informed by other much wiser and better people than me.
That's fantastic. I think that's something to consider when someone wants to read James Joyce books or Ulysses. I'll go into another question. Who are the central characters? You mentioned Leopold Bloom, but who are the other central characters, and why should we care about them?
There is a triumvirate. There are three characters. There's Leopold Bloom, who's the main character.
Yeah.
It is his journey.
Yeah.
This 24 hours is his journey. There is his wife, Molly Bloom, who is an opposite. And faithful.
I see names like Stephen Daedalus.
Stephen Daedalus. That is another one of the three main characters. Stephen Daedalus.
Yes.
Some people think of him as an alter ego for Joyce.
Oh, it might be Joyce himself.
Joyce would, no, I think Joyce would argue
Disagree with
this
that.
is fiction. And I've done some short story writing myself, and you have to be writing, if you're writing fiction, about what you actually know and
I agree.
experience and feel.
100% agree.
So in that sense,
It could.
all fiction is
Autobiographical.
not necessarily autobiographical,
Okay,
but it is informed by what is real and true in everyday life.
I love that.
It's how you compose this stuff and drive a storyline, and how you not only embellish it, but how you weave into the structural content
Well, for me,
significances that might or might not be received on a conscious level.
For me, though, that's what makes great writing great. Because it's something that's in your head bouncing around. It's very confusing, and oftentimes not easy to articulate. You actually put on words and put on paper and share it with someone. That's hard. That's really fucking hard.
I can relate a very brief story, but it underscores an aspect of this, that there's not only humor in Joyce, but he sometimes buries it so deeply that nobody even gets it unless they really dig. And I had a very special opportunity once of arriving early in the afternoon, around noon, to a French bistro in the East Village.
Yes.
And I knew the owner. I was working with him, doing wine stuff. And he walks in with Christopher Hitchens.
Oh, I love Christopher Hitchens.
So he walks in, and the owner of the restaurant, Monsieur, says, he's got shit to do. He's busy. But he doesn't want this Christopher Hitchens. This is like, this is a serious relationship. So he asks me if I will spend the time with Christopher while he goes and does some important stuff. So now it's Christopher Hitchens and me, right? Just the two of us. He's waiting for his editor from Vanity Fair to show up to do a feature article. I have a sack full of wine. He ordered scotch. He said, "Would you like a drink?" I said, "No, thank you. I've got a sack full of wine." So he's drinking scotch. I'm sipping on, I think it was Vin d'Alsace. So it was one of the Alsace wines. So we're having a 20-minute conversation. Now, he had just published in Vanity Fair a feature article on the significance of the day that Ulysses takes place for Joyce.
Are you serious?
Right. So the whole thing happens because he meets this young woman, chambermaid, Nora Barnacle. They arrange for a date. It doesn't happen. They arrange for a second date. It does happen. And they go for a walk on the Strand, like the beach. They're in Dublin. And she jerks him off.
Why not?
And Joyce immortalizes this by having all of the events in Ulysses occur on June 16th. I believe it's 1902.
Is that when he got jerked off?
No, it was 1904. June 16th, 1904. Right? So
did this happen to him? This one, my question.
Yeah. Oh no,
that's what happened.
No, that's not part of the fiction.
I know, but that's
this is, there are literary people that consider this the hand job that's heard around the world.
Right. I love that. I love that.
But all of the events take place in Ulysses in honor of that. It's,
you knew the date. That's insane.
1904.
Wow. All right, getting back to some of the questions I have, just to keep us moving forward. Why is it important and but also intimidating, to read Ulysses? Why does Ulysses have a reputation for being so difficult to read? Is that reputation fair? That is the reputation being difficult to read. Is that a fair reputation?
I would say it's difficult to read in the pantheon of great literature.
Yeah.
I'd say it's difficult to read. Maybe not the most difficult.
So it's a fair.
It's it's very fair. I've been through it now about 6 times.
Wow.
And there's a lot more for me to learn.
It's that
A
dense.
lot.
It's
It
dense.
is very, very dense.
But then he said it's got a sense of humor to it, so it's dense and humorous at the
Joyce
same time.
was a very humorous guy.
Yeah.
He never lost his fondness for puns.
No, I love it. So
Very, very interesting character.
can you enjoy just it on the level of just semantics and language, and just on that level, or you have to really read it and understand every line? I guess
Say that again. No, ask the question again. I want to make sure I understand what you're
I
asking.
guess what I was saying is, can you read it and say, this man produced beautiful sentences with beautiful words, almost like poetry, or you would never appreciate it on that level. You have to really dig deep into what he's trying to tell you.
Well, you can read the story.
You can read the story, yeah.
But there are going to be parts of it that are challenging and difficult and even incomprehensible.
And even incomprehensible.
Even incomprehensible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to follow the intellectual monologue that Stephen Daedalus has in the beginning of the book, he's dealing with philosophy and theology in a very serious way. This character.
Yes.
Right?
So I don't know.
Mine.
I haven't read it.
He is mine. Right? Molly is Mother Earth, body and fertility, and the feminine principle.
Are these the connections back to the Odyssey? Odyssey?
Not quite.
Quite, yeah.
Not quite. Although there are a lot of relationships there. There's a lot. There is a lot.
Let's leave that.
And some of it's done very humorously.
Let's leave that. Let's move on. So, if someone was to read Ulysses today, how should they approach it differently than a typical novel? You can't go into
with a great deal of patience.
That's a good word.
Because a lot of it is not going to be easily absorbed.
So put some time aside.
Here's a story. When Joyce was beginning to write Ulysses, he was, I believe, in Zurich. It was before he moved to Paris, pretty much permanently. But he had a small cadre of associates, literary people, journalists, and they would hang out. And he was walking around one day, and it was like, this conversation, are you looking for the right word?
Right.
And Joyce says, no, I have le mot juste. I'm trying to decide
where it goes. Yeah.
It could be 20 pages before the relevance of it kicks in.
So but he worried about that. He worried about things like that.
He was incredibly structured.
Unbelievable.
Incredibly structured. I mean, just like, whoa, talk about finely tooled. I'll give you a good example.
I like that. Finely tooled. That's nice.
The first page of Joyce's Ulysses takes place on a Martello Towers, stone tower. It's being rented, so this guy that he knows, Buck Mulligan, is a medical student, somewhat well-off family, medical student, and that character, Buck Mulligan, is modeled after somebody that Joyce knew. And actually, so a very clear reference there. But at the beginning of the book, on the first page, this character, Buck Mulligan, is very arrogant, very blasphemous, mocking the Catholic Church ritual. And as he's speaking, it's 8 in the morning, the sun's hitting him at an angle, and the sun glints off of his gold pillar.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. Yeah.
And there is, following that, there is a one-word sentence, Chrysostomos, which is Greek for golden mouth. So, bingo, there's the goal, and Chrysostomos. But if you really dig deep, Chrysostomos, meaning golden mouth, was the nickname of St. John of Antioch, who was a 4th century AD doctor of the church, right? Eloquence of speech, golden mouth.
Golden mouth. That's
So
what I
we
saw.
now have 2 layers for this one
phrase.
sentence.
Yeah.
You dig deeper,
And then you see there's
Buck Mulligan, the fictional character, was modeled on Oliver St. John Fogarty. So we're tying now St. John of Antioch, Golden Mouth, Chrysostomos, with Buck Mulligan, who was based on Oliver St. John Fogarty. So you have 3 layers of meaning.
Well, no
one
wonder
word.
you're not going to pick all this up on the first read. You have to kind of come back to it, right? I mean,
You actually
do a little research.
You benefit from a roadmap.
I'm a roadmap, yeah.
You benefit. There is one.
There is one.
There's a pretty good one out there. It's called James Joyce's Ulysses, A Study. It was written by Stuart Gilbert. Gilbert was in the absolute position to do this because back in the early 1920s, he was tasked with translating Ulysses from English to French. Now, in order to do a translation,
oh my God! Can you imagine what that challenge would be like? Oh my goodness! Yeah.
In order to do that, he had to spend a lot of one-on-one time with Joyce.
Oh, at the time he was still alive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
so
better.
This is back.
It's got to be one of the most interesting translations ever made.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably a little bit later than the 20s.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what he was doing. Because he lived into about the 50s.
Okay.
Joyce died in 41. But at any rate, this work, James Joyce's Ulysses, is studied by Stuart Gilbert. If you really want to get a leg up understanding how Joyce put this thing together and what it meant,
you got to go there.
That's the book.
Before we go too much further, I kind of want to wrap it up with a closing comment. What would you hope a first-time reader would take away from Ulysses? Even if they don't finish it. They just take it upon themselves to read it.
The wondrous depth, breadth, and virtuosity of the English language and its great mind.
What if I read through, I don't know how many chapters in Ulysses, but what if I read through the first 10 chapters and I got exhausted? Would I learn anything?
If you were attentive,
you would learn
and
something.
conscious, really conscious and attentive, and I mean that,
you were really reading.
Thing,
letting it work.
Allowing the information to actually enter into your consciousness. You can work on it intellectually, but also without making that effort. Stuff is going to enter in. Because that's one of the reasons that we use as a framework mythology.
Oh, that's why
we're wired for mythology.
I agree with you 100% on that, by the way. Yeah, I think that's a very insightful comment you just made. Yeah.
So,
you will gain something from reading anything.
The richness, the diversity, all the aspects of it, the sensuality.
Try it. Don't be afraid. Just go for it, right?
When I say sensuality, I don't mean in a human fleshly sensuality. I mean this richness, this voluptuousness of what this language can do in the hands of a great mind. What you can craft with this language when you marry it to intellect and mind.
So everybody who's curious should take a dive and just try it.
I would suggest it.
Just do it. Just
Although I have to say, I'm a very slow reader, so I am not broadly read.
Right, but I like slow readers.
I have to drill deep.
You have to drill deep.
Which means I can't spread myself really thin.
Yes.
I don't have that ability. I don't have that talent. I don't have that kind of mind.
Richard, I think this is a really positive first episode of Libations in Literature. And I want to thank you for your time.
I want to thank you for the opportunity.
This is really good.
Really interesting.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.